Good evening, Dr. Sangeeta.
Welcome, Patrika sir.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Lodha. Good evening.
Yeah. Will you start, please, Ganesh Vandana?
Yes, ma'am. Start.
Pallavi?
Yes, ma'am.
सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि
Dr. Anuradha, start.
Shall I start, ma'am?
Yeah.
Metabolic health of an individual is important for overall health and well-being of that person, as it is related to future risk of developing chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, stroke, kidney diseases, heart disease, etc. Healthy metabolism means body can digest and absorb nutrients from food without unhealthy spikes of blood sugar, blood fat, insulin, and inflammation. Good afternoon and welcome to all the vibrant dignitaries in this platform on behalf of Women Pediatrician Forum in this fourth webinar of the current year. Now I invite our chairperson, Dr. Sangeeta Lodha ma'am, for her welcome words. Dr. Sangeeta Lodha ma'am, over to you.
Respected friends, greetings from Women Pediatricians Forum Team 2024-25. I, Dr. Sangeeta Lodha, Chairperson, Women Pediatricians Forum and District Chair for Vaccination for Rotary District 3030. Welcome you all on our academic session. Today's topic is Turn Around Diabetes. As we all know that diabetes is a chronic condition which affects many systems of our body. We have with us today stalwart faculty and a global figure, Dr. Roshni Sanghani, to guide us on this complicated topic, and moderator, none other than Dr. Asha Bena Kappa, another star faculty. I request Dr. Anuradha Sanadhya, the Honorary Secretary General of Women Pediatricians Forum, to introduce our moderator and start the session. Before that, I just want to tell you all that we are celebrating Rotary Week as well from 16th of February to 23rd of February. And this session, we have invited our all the Rotarian friends also. So I request Dr. Anuradha to start the session with introduction of moderator, Dr. Asha Benakappa, Madam.
Before starting actual session, a little briefing about the topic today. According to one study, less than 1/3 of the normal weight adults are not metabolically healthy, and only 10% of the overweights are metabolically healthy. So most of us are metabolically unhealthy. Lifestyle plays important role in metabolism along with genetics and diet. And to conduct today's session, none other than our own Dr. Asha Benakappa, ma'am. She is a moderator, and as ma'am has already told Dr. Roshni Sanghani, she's an eminent person, is today's guest speaker. Dr. Asha Benakappa, ma'am, is head of the department of Dr. Chandrama Dayanand Sagar Institute of Medical Science, Kanakapura, Karnataka. She is having vast experience of more than 40 years in pediatrics and maximum experiences in breastfeeding. She is member of Task Force of World Alliance for Breastfeeding for Healthcare Professionals. She is also a FIAP awardee, and she has won World Breastfeeding Week Award from BPNI many times. She has been awarded Best Doctor Award by the Deccan Chronicles on Doctor's Day. And she boasts multiple international publications, and she's author of various books on breastfeeding. With this, we are honored to have you as moderator, Dr. Asha, ma'am, and because you are only one of us. And with this, I hand over to Dr. Asha Benakappa, ma'am, for further moderation of session. Dr. Asha, ma'am, over to you.
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself. Asha, ma'am. kindly.
As Dr. Roshni joined, someone chuck it up.
Yes, she has joined, ma'am.
Okay. It's a great opportunity. Sangeeta, thank you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much. Because I'm so concerned about all of you in the Women's Forum. And I know most of you are diabetic. I decided to be a guinea pig and experimented myself with my divine intervention, that is Rupal Dalal. And I met Roshni. Rupal was so emotionally attached to me when I started this journey on November 1st, 2020, with her, Rupal sending me the CGM. She said, Asha ma'am, I want you to live for 100 years and your diabetes is really bad. And that's when Dr. Roshni was holidaying in Sri Lanka while Rupal was holidaying in Kenya. I stopped insulin on December 17th, 2022, and all my oral drugs somewhere on January 19, 2023. But still, my sugars were not coming down. And that is why Dr. Roshni, another divine intervention, entered my life. We are a carb country consuming garbage. You know, we talk about garbage, but we are consuming garbage. Diabetes is gaining momentum and is becoming an epidemic, and so is insulin resistance. 1 in 3 have fatty liver, so much so, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan recently, when he went to KEM Hospital's centenary celebration, he spoke about it and he said, it is high time that we worked on the lines of Pulse Polio campaign to bring down fatty liver, which is related to insulin resistance. Roshni is an expert on this. She's going to tell us about that. And guidelines and data are not in tune. They change with the weather report, like the weather report, ICMR guidelines, National Institute of Nutrition. The dietitians and nutritionists are all on a different platform. They still talk about the food pyramid. They still talk about 55 carbs, 20% proteins, and the rest carbs. We pediatricians, especially women, there's no gender inequality, sorry. As mothers, I've lost of responsibility to children and community. And we've been talking about windows of opportunity, the first 1,000 days, an excellent module developed by Himba Bindu and all of you. And we have the next 1,000 days. And look at the comprehensive National Nutritional Survey of 2018, which was dependent on blood samples. And you'll be shocked to know that children have a very high HbA1c, high triglycerides, etc. We have to act now. So I told you my journey started with my soulmate, Dr. Rupal Dalal, who during the COVID times, I had never met her offline. It was all online through the webinars and the innumerable webinars that happened during COVID times. She was a divine intervention during this journey, while my daughter-in-law, Mrs. Sonika Adarsh, was another angel who stuck to my low carbs, kept me motivated, and told me, Amma, don't listen to anybody. You're on the right track. And that is and diabetes, all these people entered my life during the most difficult time of my diabetes mellitus, when my ALT was very high and I had developed bilateral pedal edema. And now Rupal safely I was safely handed back to my sweetheart, Dr. Rupal Dalal, once Roshni controlled my diabetes, and they both continue to give me moral and emotional support, which is most needed for people like me. And of course, the Women Pediatrician Forum has been an enormous bonding, connect, and communicate. So now we will be traveling on this Zoom platform. Dr. Roshni is the driver and I am the navigator. This car has 4 tires. The first tire is nutrition. Second one is sleep, stress, and exercise. If time permits, we're going to talk about the luggage on top of the car, that is fasting. Okay, I faced innumerable challenges by well-meaning, rather ill-meaning physicians, friends, relatives, colleagues, etc. I turned around diabetes, and now all of you are so happy with my change. And I wanted to introduce Dr. Roshni to this wonderful forum. Over to Dr. Roshni. Yes, Dr. Roshni.
Thank you. First of all, Dr. Asha. I don't know, I'm speechless. I know we have to have a good session, but there is so much gratitude that I have for your journey, not just your journey. By grace of Almighty, whatever you say is up there, energy around us, consciousness, universe, whatever, positive energy around. I have seen this process work in so many patients. But what Dr. Asha has done, because she's in a position of influence, because she's in a position of credibility, authority, seniority, leadership, education, healer herself, healthcare provider herself, like she said jokingly, she's saying it very humble words from her that she made herself the guinea pig. But honestly, the amount of effort she put into healing her diabetes, to reversing her insulin resistance, and not just to stop there and say, yeah, my problem is over, now I'll go back to my life. She's so motivated to multiply this impact to all of you that she's arranged this session today. I'm very thankful to walk with you, Dr. Asha. I feel like this is the first of many things we'll do together. You have been so open with your journey. You have shared with the newspaper. You've shared your photographs before, after. These things really do help, you know. And see, I'll be very honest. What I did with Dr. Asha, what we're going to talk about today, is not just my own idea. I cannot claim that these were just, I created this whole thing. What I have done is, I'm a very good student. I'm a very sincere reader. I read a lot. I study a lot. And I'm very curious. So I look around that what are the smartest people around me doing? And I've made it a practice to always find somebody smarter than me and learn from them. And that has helped me. I was never the topper, never, not at all a topper, okay? But what I've done is I've learned from people smarter than me and picked up something from this, something from there, and just keep on putting extra, taking in what I can, and then customizing it to the Indian scenario, to the vegetarian scenario, to the epidemic that we face, to the cultural blocks, to the society phobias, society fears, to the psychology that India has. It's one thing to know what we can do, best practices, international best practices. I'm a person of science. And for scientists, the best idea wins. If the old idea gets disproven by some new data, I go for that. We chase the best thinking, the best ideas. But what's the point of best ideas? You cannot bring it down to the cultural reality of your patient life. And this is something which, it's a philosophy. It doesn't matter what degree I have on the wall. It doesn't matter how smart I think I am. It does not matter until I can walk side by side with the person going through diabetes. What is the reality when the consultation ends? When they are done with the doctor's visit, they have to step out into their life. They have to step out into their office, their kitchen, their family drama, the stress, the workplace environment, the family problems or financial problems. All that reality hits them the minute the consultation ends. So if our time together as healthcare provider and client is not thoughtful about that, then we will fail to help our patients turn around diabetes. And that's what I care about. This is no longer about what I know. It's only about helping everybody turn it around. And Asha ma'am was being very kind. She's talking about this. This is my book. Okay. This book is something that came out last year. Dr. Asha had already experienced the consultation where this information was transferred over through the Zoom sessions with her and my team. We did that on live calls. Meanwhile, this book was already baking in the oven. I've been working on this book for 4 years. Finally came out last year. And as ma'am said, it's about a journey, 4 wheels of the lifestyle car: nutrition, sleep, stress management, exercise, and if required to go the extra distance, intermittent fasting. So Dr. Asha ma'am, I purposely kept this session unstructured today because all the audience is very well experienced with diabetes, either personally or in their direct life, professionally or in family. Everybody knows what diabetes is, the experience of diabetes in some way. So instead of me going one-way monologue, I want to make this 1 hour extremely useful for you all. So if we could have a structure, can we, if you don't mind, Dr. Asha, we have the Zoom chat format. If step by step, y'all can put your nutrition doubts. I'll give 10 minutes to read. I'll read as your questions come in the chat. Nutrition, we'll go step by step. Nutrition, then sleep, then stress management, then exercise, 10 minutes each. Hopefully that already answers a lot of it, and I'll go in a structured way. So start, is that okay, Dr. Asha? Can we do it that way?
Yes, yes. Go ahead, girls. Instead
Yes,
of
ma'am.
some of you have been putting individual messages. Ma'am, good afternoon. I consulted Dr. Roshni as per your reference and all that. I prefer it to be put in the chat box as everyone. So let everyone know what we have all gone through. Dr. Roshni,
Yes.
the first question I'll tell you. I'm a physician myself, and I'm
Yes.
very interested in nutrition. And the daughter of the first pediatrician of this country. And I went to many physicians, endocrinologists, and everybody. All they told me was eat 5 times a day. And they kept on, they only treated my blood glucose. And the final phase, when Rupal entered my life, I was on 60 units of insulin, and they wanted to hike it to 70 units. And Rupal said, Asha ma'am, you'll be killed with all this nonsense. And then she went through, when she went through my diet chart, she said, why the hell are you eating 5 times a day? I said, to maintain my glucose levels. Then finally, none of us in this forum know much about low carbs, and we are all protein deficient. We fear fats. And in the investigations, none of my physicians got fasting insulin level done. Nobody told me, I mean, HbA1c, we have, as pediatricians, we have something called phobia. In newborns, we are all the time worried about the serum bilirubin causes bilirubin-induced neurological damage. So we, as diabetics, we were all the time told about a fasting blood sugar and our HbA1c, and never fasting insulin and insulin resistance. Yes,
Yes.
girls, come on, don't miss this
Okay.
opportunity. I've
Okay.
started the discussion on nutrition
Yes.
and
Yes.
and what is carbohydrate.
Yes. So let's go with that starting point, ma'am. Great point. The biggest misunderstanding you all have in society, even doctors, they think that diabetes is a problem of high glucose, right? The same way you all as pediatricians, one of the biggest things you all fight every day is a fever in a small baby, a fever in a child, right? The first 5 years, I am sure you all are always fighting infections for the little babies. And what do? Would you be okay if a pediatrician, only thing they do for the fever is give a paracetamol? That's all I'm going to do. Fever, oh, fever is bad. Let's push the fever down, block the fever, cancel the fever. What about treating the cause of the fever? Any good pediatrician knows, please understand the cause of the fever. Same way, if we don't understand what is type 2 diabetes, today I'm not covering type 1. You all might be working in the pediatrics where you see juvenile or pediatric diabetes. That's a very different discussion. Today I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. That is a condition of high glucose and high insulin. That's what Dr. Asha is hinting at. If you don't know the insulin situation, you might be treating just glucose while making the insulin situation worse. Okay. Some wonderful questions are coming. I'm very happy because these are exactly the doubts. Of course, I cover all these questions in the book. I'm going to do them live for you now. So you don't need to actually investigate insulin levels. There are enough indirect markers to, in a cheap, low-cost way, figure out that someone has insulin resistance, which is look at the triglyceride HDL ratio. Look at C-peptide level. That is the test I need you all to do. Even if you don't measure insulin level, what I need you all to measure is a C-peptide. That will tell you, is this diabetes coming from low insulin or high insulin? Low insulin means juvenile diabetes, type 1 diabetes, autoimmune, that kind of a thing where the pancreas is failing to secrete sufficient insulin. That's a minority of case. When you see a C-peptide, that confirms that you do not need to be on insulin. That's what happened with Dr. Asha. She did not need to be on insulin. Her C-peptide showed it. Okay? So the C-peptide gives me a confidence to tell you, you don't need insulin therapy. Your entire diabetes is completely reversible. Your pancreas has not failed, but the lifestyle is not matching the pancreas. Okay? Now, let's go through the questions. Nutrition questions. Diet chart. Okay. So I am quite vehemently opposed to the idea of giving out a diet chart. Because if I had to just print out one diet chart, I would have printed it by now and put it on my website for free. And everybody who reads that diet will get cured. But the gap is, you might know what is an ideal diet chart. It's of no use if that diet chart is not sustainable for you. If it only works when you live in a perfect vacuum where no stress happens, no drama happens, no vacations, no weddings, no traveling, no hotels, no illnesses in the family where you're distracted from kitchen and all that. So diet charts don't help my patients to learn the skills. Have you heard the muhavra or the phrase? Comes from, I think, ancient Chinese proverb. If you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach the man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So my job is to teach you all how to think about ideal food plates or how ideal nutrition patterns. Unless you learn that, you will be blindly running around trying out 10 different nutrition plans. Oh, they have the best nutrition plan. Oh, she gives the best diet. They allow you cheat days. She's not allowing me this. She took away my sweets. They are not allowing. When I don't follow the diet chart, I feel guilty. I'm cheating. Okay? So the psychology of it doesn't work. The practicality of it doesn't work. So I don't give out diet charts. Now, what do we need to know? How do we help you is how, okay, let's see. Ask of the start of the meal. Yes, there is a study done by an Indian endocrinologist. Achha, I should keep track of time. So I'm gonna do this in 10 minutes, right? Nutrition. So at 4:05, I'm gonna move to sleep questions. We've had a paper published by an Indian endocrinologist, food sequencing. Either you do vegetables and protein and last carbs, vegetables, then protein, then carbs, or protein, then vegetables, then carbs. Keeping carbs last. Both of those will give you a lower insulin spike, lower glucose spike than if you eat the carbs first. Okay. For me, the practical way, start with protein. Why? Because, and I mentioned this in the book, protein malnutrition. It's not just something that affects small children. We see adults walking around with protein malnutrition. People from good homes eating just 20 grams of protein a day, whereas they needed 75, 85, 90, 100, 120, based on how much the body weight, multiply by 1.2. Oh, but what about the kidneys? Protein does not harm the kidneys. Stop that lie. If there's anything you'll get from this meeting today, do not let anybody say to you, protein causes kidney damage. That is false. What causes kidney damage? Diabetes and hypertension. What makes diabetes and hypertension worse? Carbohydrate predominant diets. Okay, so do not fear proteins. We need to make sure breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 meals a day at least, get the protein in. Does 2 meals a day Dikshit diet? I do not get my patients into fasting. For me, that's the 5th step in lifestyle change. First 4 are nutrition, sleep, stress management, exercise. Imagine the analogy of a car, 4 wheels. If you have a puncture in any of the 4 wheels, nutrition, if protein is not a target, sleep, if your sleep is not good, stress, if your stress levels are high, exercise, if you are not building muscles, strength training, then when you go for a long drive on the highway, if there is any puncture, your car will get stuck on the highway. Fasting is considered like a highway, like a luggage on top of the car, or the highway where you're trying to go the extra distance of diabetes reversal or fat loss. Please do not take long road trips with punctures in your car. Similarly, ensure first 3 meals so that you get sufficient protein. Do not go for fasting or time restricted eating at the expense of reaching daily protein targets. Okay. Then rice and millets. The government of India keeps on pushing millets, saying it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'll tell you where the problem is. The percentage of millet, which is carb, is jawar, bajri, ragi, all of them, they are 65% plus carbohydrates. More than 65% of a millet is a carbohydrate. Wheat and rice are in the 70% range, 72 to 77%. So you're talking about hardly a 5 to 10 gram or a 5 to 10% difference in carbohydrates when you reduce a wheat or a rice into a millet, hardly. So do not blindly say, oh, I switched over to millets. Did you check your 2 hours post-meal glucose? I see people from the south, they replace the wheat with the rice, happily having ragi puttu, or having homemade steamed idli, thinking it's low fat and it's a lightweight thing, no oil, fat-free, and the glucose is spiking. Why? Because it is a highly processed grain. The grain has been turned into a powder and then steamed. So there is no digestion required, no chewing required. It's instant carbohydrates and the glucose levels are spiking. So do not allow anybody to tell you this is the best food, this is the best food. Eat the food and check in 2 hours. Millets are 65% carbs. Now in the name of millets, people are making jawar chips, bajri wafers, nachni sticks, nachni khakra. This is highly, highly processed grain. It is no longer a whole grain. So you check the glucose in 2 hours. Okay. Any food you think. Then investigations we'll come to later. Low carb, yes, you can use in diabetic children. I don't treat children. So I can't tell you about what to do with children, but ideally we don't allow fasting in children because the children are growing. So yes, you need to go low carb. Even for the child, children do not need to eat carbohydrates. This is false that children need to eat carbohydrates for energy. Please give the growing child sufficient protein. Otherwise, they're starting out life with protein deficiency and protein malnutrition, a very bad syndrome to have in children. Please give them high quality protein and low carbs. Baseline investigations, morning saga. See, India does this, right? Morning, I have my green tea, then I have my soap nuts, then I have my tea biscuit, then I have my hot breakfast. Four times they're having breakfast. Every time you eat, your pancreas has to release insulin. You are constantly in a high insulin state. The body is never getting low insulin. What is fasting? Why does fasting help? Because you go into a low insulin state. If you're eating 4 times, insulin secretion is, what is insulin? It's a hormone. I'm a hormone doctor. What is hormone signaling? It's giving a message to the entire body. What is insulin? It's anabolic. It's saying store fat. Imagine telling your body 5 times in the morning itself, store fat, store fuel, store, do not burn. It blocks lipolysis. It causes fat storage. It causes glycogen storage. It blocks glycogenolysis, right? So it is causing hyperglycemia and causing a block in food store. It is causing a block in burning the fuel. So every time you do that, you're eating the food, you're locking it away because high insulin will not allow you to access those fuels until you fast. That's the whole reason fasting has become popular, because when you fast, insulin levels will finally go down and you can mobilize the stored fuel, you can mobilize the stored fats. Okay, but if you keep eating, you're constantly telling the body, store. Fatty liver is nothing but insulin resistance. It's the same problem. There's no separate problem or no separate treatment for fatty liver. Insulin resistance. So the treatment is low carbohydrate. Remove the sugars, remove the processed powdered carbohydrates. Of course, alcohol, if it's an adult who's drinking, fatty liver. But in a non-drinking person, we see NAFLD as the leading cause of liver failure and liver transplant now, taking over alcohol as the number 1 cirrhosis. It's diet related only. So the diet is only same. You'll knock off fatty liver and diabetes at the same time, type 2 diabetes. Low carb, sufficient protein, sufficient healthy fats. Millet and quinoa, I already answered. Protein supplements. I have a whole section on protein supplements in the book. If the person cannot reach the 1.2 grams of protein per kg body weight per day, divided in 3 meals, most of the times this happens in a vegetarian person. How much dal can they eat? How much of vegetables can they eat? It's too filling and bulky with not so much protein. It's not protein dense for the amount of volume and fiber that it comes with. So they will struggle. So then they may need a protein supplement. Look for single ingredient. It does not need to be sweet. It does not need to taste like chocolate or vanilla or banana or strawberry or pistachio or anything. Single ingredient. So we teach our patients how to do label reading. Label reading is in my book as well. What is the order to take milk? I already answered that. Daily proteins other than tofu, soy products. So tofu, nuts and seeds, that's about it. There's very few protein-rich sources for vegetarians besides dairy. Cheese, please go for cheese. If you're willing to take paneer, then you can definitely consider cheese as well. Greek yogurt, okay, milk. Of course, that's all dairy product variations of dairy. And the sugar content will go down if you convert it from milk into a cheese or a yogurt, because that lactose is getting fermented off. So you're having more of the protein concentration. Greek yogurt is simply the hung curd. So the percentage, gram for gram, you're removing the water weight. So gram for gram, you're getting more concentrated nutrition in the Greek yogurt because the water aspect has been drained off. Other than that, for the vegetarians, you're pretty much stuck. After that, it's only tofu, tempeh, and then you're going to need a supplement. Which protein in meals? We just covered that. Yes, the body can survive without carbohydrates. Yes, carbohydrates are not essential. Carbohydrates are not essential. The body is capable of gluconeogenesis. Anything you eat, whether it's a protein or a fat, can be repurposed by gluconeogenesis into carbohydrates. The only people who may have a failure of gluconeogenesis is end-stage liver or end-stage renal disease. That's not your average patient. So nobody needs to eat carbohydrates, but we still do. I'm not saying don't. I also eat carbs. Is it essential for survival? Is it essential for brain function? False. Oh, you need glucose for the brain. The brain burns glucose. Yes, the brain burns glucose. Your body will provide the glucose. You don't need to eat the glucose. Okay. Watermelon has a high glycemic index. If anybody asks me, is this okay for a person to eat in diabetes? X, Y, Z, watermelon, papaya, millets, quinoa, ABC, donkey, monkey, doesn't matter. Eat it and check in 2 hours. Otherwise, you all will remain blind and ignorant. The body will not lie. It will give you the answer in 2 hours. If your body shows glucose intolerance, recheck after you have reduced that carbohydrate. So let's say you took watermelon with your lunch and you had some roti, your rice, you had some dal, you had some sabji, and you had some watermelon. 2 hours later, glucose has spiked. You have the option, which carbohydrate do you want to reduce by 50%? I'm not saying stop it. People have a psychological drama. Oh, you're going to make me stop my food. I'm not stopping your food. Your body is telling you, I cannot digest or I cannot metabolize this food properly. It's too much carbohydrate for me. You have watermelon, roti, rice. You decide which carb you want to cut all three by 50%, or maybe pick two of these, any two of these, or take one of them, but take it in the same portion and knock off the two. You are in charge. Do not be a victim to what is happening. Use the information to make intelligent decisions and change the ratio of your carbs. And guess what? If the food spikes your glucose today in Feb 2025, you can plan, give yourself 1 year, build your muscle mass. Muscle will help your glucose tolerance improve. Glycemic index is just a number on paper. Why do you need to worry about what the internet says about glycemic index about watermelon? Your body says, I can't handle it today. Invest in muscles for a year. Try the same watermelon in Feb 2026, and you would have seen a difference. Nothing is fixed and final. Diabetes does not have to be chronic and progressive. It is up to us what we do to repair the body. If all we do is see the glucose and pop in medicines and pop in insulin to push the glucose down, you're completely missing the point. You're not treating the disease. You're only treating a symptom. Okay? What else do we have in nutrition?
See,
Limit
many,
on what?
Dr. Roshni, many are asking about fruits, dry fruits, seeds, and nuts.
Yeah, coming to that. So protein-rich diet, I already said, yes, the egg yolks, nobody has been able to prove that egg yolks cause heart disease. This was a myth in the 1970s, propagated by the American government and FDA. Sadly, never based in fact. They made us afraid of natural saturated fat. They made us scared of ghee and coconut oil, and they made us scared of egg yolks. Please embrace those three. They are healthy fats. There is no proof that dietary cholesterol causes cardiac disease. No proof. No proof that saturated fat causes, natural unprocessed saturated fat causes cardiac disease. Now, there is a huge concern about the seed oils that India is using. I must take a second. I'm okay to cut 5 minutes from maybe sleep or stress management to spend 5 more minutes on nutrition. Seed oils are a big problem. I want you all to remove from your kitchens sunflower, safflower, canola. These are the big ones, okay? Rice bran. Remove these oils. They are rich in omega-6. They disrupt the omega-3, omega-6 ratio. Highly inflammatory setup for you all. Please, if you can get back to cooking in ghee or coconut oil, it's the best bet. Okay. Oil, sugar-free gold. I don't even know what that is. I have no idea what that is. Sounds like a sugar substitute. I'm not interested in giving you a sugar substitute because it's keeping you addicted to sweet taste. That has got nothing to do with diabetes. If someone is addicted to sweet, we talk to them about their sweet addiction. I do not say, this sugar-free substitute is okay on the market today, only to find out after 10 years, oh, that thing is associated with cancer risk, stroke risk, insulin resistance, gut microbiome. Okay, the data on sweeteners comes out 10 years later. Already there are enough sweeteners that are getting tied to gut health problems, insulin resistance problems, insulin secretion, even though the glucose level doesn't go up because the brain has a cephalic response. Brain is anticipating sweet. It starts the insulin response because it's excited. It's addicted to that sweet nature. It starts the pancreas response of insulin. You all are asking very rigid black and white questions as though I'm here to take away your fruits or I'm here to take away your limit on tea, coffee without sugar. I'm not here to take anything away. Check your glucose. Okay, I'm refusing to answer a question which is limited in nature. Please expand your mind. If you don't know, it's because you don't know. Check in 2 hours how your body responds. Do not assume, because I'll tell you, you'll be surprised. Oh, switch from wheat to jawar, switch from mangoes to papayas, and you're not checking, and your glucose is still high because you followed somebody else blindly without getting your own information. I doubt that's a scientific approach. Groundnut and mustard oil are still being studied. There is some concern that there may be inflammatory components. It's actually still a controversial space. I'm still reading about oils. The ones that we know are safe right now are ghee and coconut oil. And of course, if you're getting a red meat kind of a thing, the charbi of that is fine because it's natural fat. Tea, coffee, caffeine, again, post 2 p.m. is likely to interrupt your sleep. Other than that, if it's a black tea or a black coffee, again, there's no data to say that it's good or bad. So it's neutral as far as I'm concerned. If you're adding milk into it, multiple milk teas or milk coffees all day long, the milk is a mixture of protein and carbohydrate. It's going to cause an insulin spike. You decide, do you want your body to be given the store fuel, store fat message, 4 coffees a day, 4 teas a day, 4 messages sent to the entire body, store fat, store fat, store fat. Do you want that? You decide. I don't tell you do it or don't do it. I educate you, so you decide what you want based on your goals. Okay? Microbiome, please go low carb. If you want to read a book, read the book Super Gut by William Davis. Go low carb, not eating from packets and processed food. And if you are fine with eating more and more vegetables, that gives you the prebiotics naturally from the vegetables. Where should we start a day after fasting? I'm not yet covering into fasting. Olive oil works. Definitely olive oil is fine. Sweet addicted. Brand names, I'm not going to do any brand names. Magnesium, there are different forms of magnesium. You could do a magnesium glycinate for a different reason, magnesium oxide. So I cannot get into an individual magnesium prescription on a Zoom meeting. What about jaggery? What's the question? It's sugar. Oh, I've stopped sugar and I've gone for jaggery. So what? Your body doesn't care whether it's brown or white. It is completely sucrose. Oh, but what about coconut sugar? It's sugar. Hi, Smita. Meal times. That's a fasting question. I'm going to come to it. But at the end, which cheese? Fresh cheese. Unprocessed fresh cheese. Not those which don't spoil and they stay in tins at room temperature and never go bad. Those are processed cheese. They're not actual fresh cheese. Okay? So we're talking of fresh mozzarella, fresh cheddar, fresh Gouda, Edam, any like a brie or a, what are those? There are all these different variants of fresh cheese, right? Feta, all that works. All right, we've covered nutrition. Shall I move to sleep?
Dr. Roshni, many of them are vegetarians. All through your book, you kept on saying, I'm a Gujarati and I'm a vegetarian, but I shifted to whole eggs. You know, people are very skeptical about whole eggs. Even I had this issue, remember? Then you told me you have to, you have to take the whole eggs, which will give you 39 nutrients. Adding lemon to it, we get 40 nutrients. And of course, there was a lot of issues in my home because I belong to a vegetarian family. Now I'm very comfortable. My intermittent fasting in the morning starts with 4 eggs so that I get my 28 grams of proteins. So there are a lot of questions out there about whole eggs. So if Roshni, myself and Rupal are all strict vegetarians, we have all shifted to whole eggs, animal protein, and that's the best I feel as of now.
Exactly. And this again comes from the fear of egg yolks, which is false, right? There is no basis for that. So there is no reason to be afraid of egg yolks. So I'm going to put a video link for y'all in the chat. Please save it and watch it. There's a video of a guy from Harvard, medical student and PhD in nutrition and metabolism from Oxford and Harvard both, who ate 720 eggs in a month. His blood cholesterol went down because the liver makes cholesterol. If your dietary cholesterol is high, the liver doesn't need to make any. When you eat the low-fat, low-cholesterol diet, your liver is manufacturing cholesterol. Most of the cholesterol circulating in your blood is endogenously manufactured. Cholesterol has extremely important functions. So it's time for people to update their knowledge. If we keep on vomiting out fears and phobias from 40 years back without revising our knowledge or getting new information, we'll be stuck in time. We'll be literally saying outdated stuff if we're not catching our updates. My job is to keep all updated. I will be. So my book is out. You're asking questions. It's going in repeat now. It's going into circles. Somebody's asking me what to eat. Then the call will never end. Okay? I'm not going to tell people what to eat. I'm going to teach you how to think to eat. Right? So I will be making a video course, which you all can look into when it's out. The video course is going to teach you all about nutrition. Because people may not read the book. I love if you read the book, but maybe some of you will not read the book. Okay, so for you guys, stay in touch. I will be coming out with a video course so that you will learn it properly. In a Zoom session of 1 hour, difficult to give you all the Wi-Fi knowledge transfer, right? It's like Wi-Fi. How much to give information? How much will you absorb and get cured in 30 minutes or in 1 hour? Why are you all worried about the form of the eggs, guys? Please evolve your questions. Get a higher level question. Why are you worried about the egg? If you boil it or steam it or fry it or eat it raw, what is the point of the question? Are you scared of the oil? What is the question? What is it? Eat it how you like it. Make a burji one day, make an omelette one day, make a half fry one day, make a scramble one day. Do whatever you want. Put cheese one day, put spinach one day. I mean, this is now y'all are going into asking me recipes. Then I will be stuck here giving you all menu plans, and I'm not going to do that. Okay? Nutrition. Shall we move to sleep?
Yes, Dr. Roshni.
Yes. Hunger pangs get less on high protein. Yes, they do. Low protein will give you satiety. Okay. Right. So sleep. In the order in my book, and please don't mind, Dr. Asha, I'm being very frank. I'm hoping that this is your audience and that they are not getting hurt. Nobody's feelings should get hurt today. Okay.
No problem. I'm going to make all of them read this fabulous book. I can call it Bhagavad Gita or Quran or Bible. Okay.
Yeah.
I know everything in this book by heart. And I was just getting an idea that we can have a, bookworm club and make all of them read this and have a discussion on this too.
Yes.
That's another way of learning, updating. It's absolute science, girls, and it is not fiction. She quotes and the foreword has been written by my favorite Ben Pickman, Jason Funk, Eric Berg. And it's so nice, Robert Lustig. All of these are big names. And if they have written the foreword for this book, you can imagine where Dr. Roshni stands. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's not repeat those questions. Please buy this book. It's available on Amazon. Worth a possession.
Thank you so much. And the reason that I'm shaking you all now when you all are asking me what to eat, I'm shaking you all because I want you to understand. I'm trying to teach you how to think. Don't just ask about what to eat. I want you to know how to think about what to eat. Yeah. Okay. So that's why I refuse to. I have bought it, but still not read. No problem. It takes time to read. It's not something that is a novel that will be done in a day. It takes time to read. I will come out with a video course that will be a companion course for you to go along in a video format alongside, so it becomes easier to manage. But yes, it is a readable book. Even non-doctors have read it and they've started changing their habits before they even take my consultation. They're like, I read the book. I've kept the language very simple and it is easy to understand. Okay. Coming to sleep. So sweet. Y'all are reassuring me that no one's going to get upset. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings today. So sleep. Maybe you all spend a lot of time on your screens late at night. You all can probably see how much sunlight is coming from my window right now. Look at this. You see this? What's happening? This is a blue light blocking glass. Okay. It's a wavelength blocker. It blocks blue light. Why do we care about blocking blue light, especially after sunset? Is the nature has gone dark. The sky has gone black. Sun has set. And what do we do in our homes? Because God is great and we have a roof over our heads. We have electricity. Everybody has access to switches and bulbs. We turn on the lights at 6:30, 7 o'clock. We turn on the lights. So we cancel sunset. And then people will say, oh, but our ancestors, they used to eat all this good jaggery and bajra and everything and roam in the field. Good. So please live like your ancestors. Okay? Live like them. If you want to eat like them, live like them. Sleep after sunset. Keep a little kerosene lamp. Don't have any city lights and artificial lights and mobiles and TV screens. Once it's dark, it's dark. By 9 o'clock, you will be yawning and you'll go to sleep the way we do in the mountains when we go for a camping or we go for a hike in the mountains. Okay? So live like the ancestors. Work in the fields from morning to night. Make your own food. Grind your own grains. Milk your own cows. Harvest your own crops. Please live like the ancestral life. I have no problem. But I don't know these ancestors that you're talking about. So it's a useless exercise to say, well, what about our ancestors? I said, they're gone now. God bless them. You live in 2025. You are sick. We need to help you. Okay. So, but ancestral life, I'm about to remove this glass from my phone now. Please keep an eye on the screen as I remove it. You're going to see a flash of color. Tell me what color you see coming on the screen when I remove this. Did you see that?
It was blue.
It was blue. And after half a second, my phone did an auto adjust and made it again looking white. What is blue? All of life on Earth started underwater. The early plankton, zooplankton, aerobic amoebas, and those little unicellular, uniflagellate organisms were all life started in water. If we talk about billions and billions of years back. In the underwater scenery, you only have two colors to experience. In the day, it's blue, and in the night, it's black. So blue light, when it goes in between your eyes, into your pineal gland, from your optic nerve, the light information is sensed by the pineal gland, which is sitting right between the optic nerves. It's doing light metering from two eyes. In case if you lose the vision from one eye, it's taking light metering from the other eye. We have two, na? So it's taking data from both. And it decides, okay, it has now become dark. We will now release melatonin. But you don't get darkness because you have artificial lights. So you're giving a blue color to your brain till you switch everything off. Blue, 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 blue. So your brain has not prepared you for melatonin. So if you switch off your devices and your artificial lights, overhead LED bulbs at 11:30 at night, you are 5 hours in jet lag because sunset happened at 6:30. And then you try to get up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning and you're feeling too sleepy because actually it's 1 in the morning in your brain, 1 a.m. If you're trying to wake up at 6 a.m., your brain is functioning at the 1 a.m. level. It's in a deep sleep and you're trying to put the alarm clock and get up because you got jet lag, because you did not sleep according to sunset. Your sunset happened at 11:30 at night. You're understanding the problem here? Pediatricians need to know this because growing children need deep sleep for growth hormone release. You all must be seeing all kinds of growth hormone deficiencies, stunting, child needs to be tall. Please give them this incentive. Baba, if you want to grow tall, you need deep sleep. For that, you don't need to be on your iPad till midnight, watching TV, watching mobile. It's blocking deep sleep and growth hormone release. Growth hormone is released in deep sleep. Okay? The other problem with sleep is what's the other thing? Sleep apnea. I'm seeing pediatric sleep apnea now. Pediatric. Obesity-related sleep apnea in children. You all might have thought it comes from adenoids and tonsils initially, but now it's coming from obesity. Sleep apnea causes metabolic syndrome, causes insulin resistance, makes the child more prone to prediabetes at a young age. Young children, Dr. Asha sent me scary statistics about fatty liver, 1 in 3 kids, high triglycerides and high HbA1c, 1 in 3 children in some states. What is going on in this country? Where is this generation going to be when they're 30? My kids' generation, very few kids are becoming doctors. Who's going to treat them? We have an army of patients being manufactured in our homes, and we're not creating as many doctors as in our generation. What's going to happen to the sickness industry? Just think where the future is. Okay, that's about sleep. Stress management. Is there any other questions? Stress management. Okay, yeah.
Okay, before
Yes.
you go for before you go for stress management, girls, the book, the name of the title of the book is on the flyer. It is available on Amazon, and I'm happy to see that many of you ordered just now because you are
So
you're going to change your life, and you're going to come back after 3 months and tell what all this webinar did. Okay.
Yes,
Sleep. Most of them, Dr. Roshni, are having webinars till 11:30, and they all blame me because I go off to sleep at 9 as per Dr. Roshni's guidance, and they say you're not attending the webinars. I don't care because it is self-heal, soul heal. I worked very heavily on my own health We are all ambassadors of health, girls. We have to show that we are healthy. Let's not create a generation of metabolically unhealthy people. 93% are metabolically unhealthy. All these videos
Yes.
were sent to me by Dr. Roshni, and I meticulously watched those. Don't believe social media, which is maybe some things are good, but not all social platforms are having sound science and studies. The entire book quotes you to various, New England Journal of Medicine, American Dietetic Association. And at the end of the book, there is a summary and also a QR code, which you can access. I'm not getting any profits, but I want all of you
Nothing.
to improve your health. Please go through this fantastic book. It's a game changer, life changer for yourself, for the community, and everything. It is, one-to-one, as if I'm talking to Roshni. And I'd made lots of notes, but I don't want to take away her time with us. In 2016, she quit her hospital practice and said, to hell with this. Let me do lifestyle changes and improve the health of these people. And we pediatricians believe in wellness and not illness. And Dr. Roshni doesn't believe in profits before health. It is health before profits. Sorry, please continue with the
Sure. No, thanks, Dr. Asha. You're being very supportive of my journey, and I really thank you for that. And yes, what ma'am said is right. I stopped hospital medicine. I couldn't do it anymore. I just kept seeing every single admission consult that I was called for as a failure of outpatient medicine. I had to come in and do insulin units up and down for someone with hyperglycemia, diabetes plus pneumonia, diabetes plus hip fracture, diabetes plus cancer. And we were just tasked with, at that point, doing a little bit of glucose management in hospital. When the food is coming on the trays loaded with carbs, the hospital dietitian comes and feeds them carbs in the hospital. Mary biscuit, idli, poha, rotis, three rotis, big pile of rice. I'm like, how does this count as diabetic food? US hospitals are doing the same thing. And then I'm supposed to now push insulin and push all this glucose inside the cell. I just could not swallow it. It just burned me up at night. I would do a stabilization of the case and sign off. On the contrary, consultants, the more rounds they do and the more signatures they put, the more money they make. I would reduce my billings by not going and again seeing a stable patient. I would say, patient is stable. Please re-phone me if something changes and you need a new question to be answered. I'm not going to poke my head in the room every day just because they're lying in the bed. Until the day of discharge, I should put my hand in their pocket and take something. I just could not deal with hospital medicine. After a point, the model just did not work for me. I did not enter healthcare to do that. One of my job interviews in Mumbai, when I came from US in 2011, I moved back to India to be closer to family. One of the interview questions was, how many admissions will you give us per month? One of the hospital directors. I said, sir, if I do my job right, I'll give you 0 admissions per month. And the interview ended there. Obviously, I did not get the job offer. My job is to keep people out of hospital. So what if the hospital's business model is to make money when people are sick and hospitalized? That's a good thing in society. We need hospitals. It doesn't align with my business model. It doesn't align with my oath why I entered healthcare. Do we need hospitals? Yes. We need transplant surgeons. We need orthopedic surgeons. We need emergency services. We need pneumonia treatments. We need COVID treatments. We need all that. But for diabetes management, obesity and lifestyle disease, chronic condition management, hospitals do not add value at all to me, right? It will manage the acute problem. I wanted to be on the preventive and reversal side, so I had to leave. I just couldn't swallow it, right? Okay, stress management. And Dr. Asha, one point to this stress management, linking to the fact that it's a pediatric audience majorly. I have a section in the book for women and children. You're a women pediatric group, so nice. Dr. Asha told me about how your group was formed also. Very inspirational. I have a section on women and children. Within that women and children, I talk about PCOS, which you all must be seeing in the young women, or PCOS leading into gestational diabetes, pre-diabetes before pregnancy, diabetes in pregnancy, postpartum diabetes that never goes away post-discharge. That whole thing about women's health, menopause-related concerns, perimenopause, diabetes risks after menopause, all that. And there's a section on children. Type 2 diabetes in children. I also have a section on type 1 diabetes in this book. That's why ma'am is calling it a final destination. I've made sure everything you need to know about diabetes is in this book. It feels thick, but it's easy to read, promise. I spent a lot of money from my own pocket. No publisher took up this book. I tried for 2 years to get a publisher. For 2 years, nobody took it. I finally self-published it with family sweat and tears. Okay. So the children's section talks about how parents need to change the way they talk to the child. What happens is when a child gets type 2 diabetes, now the parent tells the doctor to fix the child's behavior. Oh, my child keeps on eating junk food. I'm like, but it's your child. It's not the neighbor's child. It's not somebody else's child. It's your child. I can't fix their junk food addiction. Who gave them this junk food addiction? It just happened overnight or what? Junk food. Just because a blood test has come, you don't know how to parent the child. So you're asking me to fix it? Not going to happen. Your parenting style will have to change. And my editor, he told me, "Bhai, please write this very sweetly. Otherwise, the parent will take your book and throw it." I said, no, I don't want them to throw the book. I want them to learn how to talk, learn how to parent, learn how to raise the child to be an independent eater, a healthy eater. You cannot play food battles with children. You have to teach the child, I am here to role model for you. Sometimes the parent doesn't have the right relationship with their own body. Parent is body shaming, looking in the mirror. They are not respecting their own body. What will the child learn? Parents do, na? Sometimes don't do as I am doing. Do as I am telling you to do. Don't copy me. But who's the biggest role model for this child? Parent. Only if the child is doing good, I want the credit. If a child is doing something naughty, it's not got anything to do with me. That's something else. Sad, but it happens. It happens to all of us. We are all vulnerable to this, and that brings me to stress management. I've dedicated quite a bit of space in the book to stress management, mindfulness, monitoring our thoughts. I've put a section in there, the same way y'all asked me so many questions about diet, what to put on the plate. I'm saying what to put in your mind. What is the thought diet? What is the quality of thoughts you're feeding your brain? You're feeding yourself content from social media. You're feeding yourself news channels, constantly feeding you with negativity. What are you feeding your thought process? Do you feed your thoughts with victimhood, blame? Somebody in the comments has mentioned the word blame, guilt, drama. This is very painful. Negative relationships. We don't know how to manage stress. India is actually one of the most spiritual countries in the world, even today. We have so much wisdom in this country. And I don't know how many of us are getting the benefit of the massive wisdom that is there in our consciousness. Somewhere we might be disconnected from it, but we have so much to benefit from what our own country gives us. I'm so thankful. I've come back from US. I'm in touch with all my friends and family living there. I consider that there is a much stronger spiritual base here. And I see sometimes people really struggling, right? So I talk about that. Present moment thinking. So a lot of times we go into past and future. Like someone will say, when will I lose weight? For me, I get this question a lot. When will I get the weight loss? When will I get the diabetes reversal? What about my kidneys? What if something happens? I don't want to get a heart attack. This is all anxiety and thoughts and what shall I say? Neurosis almost, right? The thoughts are just going 100 miles an hour and I'm losing contact with this present moment. The only reality right now for all of us on this Zoom call, it's 90 of y'all. It's 4:33 in India, PM on a Friday afternoon. That's the only thing that's real. 4:32 is also gone in the past. 4:35, anything could happen. We have no idea what's going to happen in the next 2 minutes. No idea. The only impact you can make on your diabetes is right now. What if this happens? Okay, you want something different in the future? What are you going to do now? And the analogy I give over here is a 9th standard child has entered 10th grade, 10th class, wants to do well in 10th finals. My 2 daughters are right now in grade 10 and grade 12. I've got board exams, two levels of board exams going on in our house, right? And board exams, shall the 10th standard child put a photo frame of 9th standard mark sheet and say, I want good results in 10th. I want good results in 10th. I want good results in 10th. I should not get 9th marks. I want higher than 9th marks. Where will I go to school? I need the marks, right? So can that 10th standard child do well just by staring at the mark sheet? People tell me, I get on the weighing scale every day. Nothing is changing. The weighing scale is not moving. I look at food and I gain 300 grams. Oh, I slept last night, I was 65 kg. Now morning, I'm 65.3 kg. And doing all this freak out session. What is that weighing scale? It is your mark sheet. It's telling you the results of everything in the past. No, but I want the number to be different. I want the weighing scale to give different number. So I want good marks in 10th. Now, if you want good marks in 10th, what should you do? Should you keep staring at the mark sheet, or should you open your books and please put the subject in your mind? Maths, history, English, Shakespeare, whatever. Just now 10th boards are getting over. They're saying English literature is getting over. Good. So they had to study English literature right now to get marks in 10th. Weighing scale does not tell you what you need to change to get a different result in the future. The only way to know what to change is by awareness. So many of the nutrition questions come from lack of awareness. What should I eat? People say, I drink water and I gain weight. Is that really possible? It's some sarcastic comment. It's a very disempowering statement. I gain weight drinking water. The body is not designed to hold water, retain water, just become a balloon. We're not designed to be balloons. We're not water balloons. So these statements are just self-destructive statements. So self-talk. Do you talk about yourself with love and respect? Do you talk about yourself with criticism? I can't resist. I have a sweet tooth. I can't resist if you put desserts in front of me. Nothing. I cannot manage. You're lying. If 4:36 today you tell me I cannot resist when sweets are put in front of me, where? Right now there's no sweet in front of you. You're telling me something about the future. You're planning to overeat it in the future and you're lying about it right now. Maybe in the past you were overeating sweets. Doesn't mean that in the next time when you see the sweets, you're going to do it. Depends on what you keep telling yourself. Now, Ozempic. We should cover Ozempic for a second. I don't know, are your pediatric groups getting exposed to semaglutide for children? I hope not. Has it entered into the pediatric market?
Yes, it has entered.
Oh no. So that's really terrible. We don't want that. Now the marketing is that semaglutide addresses food noise. Food noise. Thoughts cannot be noise. Okay? Thoughts are thoughts. Now they've called food noise so that you consider it to be a pathology and a symptom, so that you need to medicate it, make it into a disease so that allopathy can come with a medicine. I'm an endocrinologist. I'm an American board certified endocrinologist. I get it. Allopathy is about prescribing drugs for symptoms. If we call it food noise, then you'll say, give me a medicine for food noise. If we help you understand the endocrine basis of cravings, what was your previous meal? Did you get enough protein? Did you sleep well enough? Are you emotionally upset and you have a craving for sweets because you are sad, angry, depressed, happy? We like sweets when we're happy also. So emotional eating is not a pathology. It's a reward system. There's a book called Dopamine Nation. There's another book called The Scientific Hacking of the American Mind. There's another book called Ultra Processed People. There's another book called Metabolical. I've read all these books. It's all telling the same thing, but pharma industry is doing its job. So that's stress management in brief. Finally, exercise. Somebody's asking about stevia and sweeteners. I already covered that. Now you can look in the book for sweetener information. Exercise.
Before you go to exercise, I'm very happy with this chapter on women. You know, she talks about women, patriarchal society, gender inequality, how the women have to change the kitchen. And it's going to be very difficult. All of you, when you go back after this talk, I'm sure you're going to make changes and it's going to be exceedingly difficult. And in my journey, the stress was the most difficult component for me because I was living alone with my son and daughter-in-law while my husband and my mother-in-law were away from here. And I have absolutely no support system at all. And exercise, Dr. Roshni, I want to tell you, I qualified zonal meet about 45 years people, we all competed last year. And I did a 2.5 minutes plank. And she even asked me to send a video on exercise. And she said, no, you're not doing it right. You have to go for muscle failure. Over to you for exercise.
Yes, thank you. My God, you're being so genuine in sharing. Sorry, I got up to get my charger because my phone is at 3%. But coming to exercise, all of you must be aware that once somebody gets the diagnosis of diabetes, they say, okay, I will do yoga and I will do walking. That's not enough. Okay. One analogy I use in my book a lot is three musketeers of glucose metabolism: liver, muscle, and pancreas. Three musketeers. Okay. What is the job of these three musketeers? Anybody knows? What does liver do for glucose? Let me quiz you all now. I'm talking a lot. Liver for glucose, muscle for glucose, and pancreas for glucose. What are the role of these three? I'm just plugging the charger while you all think about that. Liver. What is the answer? ST, glycogen storage. That's true. That is glycogen storage. So what does it do with the glycogen? It stores the glycogen so that when glucose is required in the bloodstream, as we mentioned gluconeogenesis, the liver provides glucose. Remember we said brain needs glucose, RBCs need glucose, correct? Who provides that glucose when there is no glucose coming in the mouth? Overnight when you sleep, do you die of hypoglycemia? No, because the liver is providing glucose. Someone says, why is my morning glucose high? I had very good dinner last night, healthy dinner, best dinner. I went to sleep with a normal glucose. Why is the glucose high in the morning? Your liver still has insulin resistance. It's providing excess glucose overnight because normal insulin effect is not happening to suppress gluconeogenesis. Liver is doing more than required. It's not able to suppress glycogenolysis. So excess glucose released by the liver. It's all about glucose providing. That is the liver. What does the pancreas do for glucose? It is the glucose regulator. You have a dial, you have a fan switch, make it fast, make it slow, up, down. Pancreas will say, okay, we need low insulin, we need high insulin. One biryani has come, one big South Indian thali has come, huge carb load, increase insulin secretion. Oh, the person is fasting, the person is eating a low carb or a keto meal or an LCHF meal, lower insulin secretion. Person is exercising, lower insulin secretion. It is the glucose regulator. Third musketeer for glucose metabolism is muscle. What is the job of muscle in glucose metabolism? One is the provider, one is the regulator. Burns it. So muscle is the glucose taker. It takes glucose, it takes it up, it stores it and burns it, correct? Right answer. In short, we say muscle is the glucose taker. That means what? That means you need to build muscle. Okay? Strength training. And like Dr. Asha said, again, I would never give away somebody's personal journey, right? But ma'am is sharing it so sweetly and honestly that yes, she shared her workouts with me. I said, ma'am, this is the tweak we need to make. We need to push the workout till failure. Failure always teaches us something, right? Philosophically, even in exercise, when the muscle fails, there are muscle fibers that get the intelligence to the brain. Hello, that load was too much. We need to have larger muscle bulk tomorrow. Please send more recruitments. Please increase muscle fiber recruitment. Please increase protein deposition and muscle fiber quantity or quality and increase the muscle strength and size. What happens when you have more muscle mass? Glucose levels naturally get corrected. So reversing prediabetes and diabetes. And guess what? Age-related sarcopenia. How many of y'all are okay if I say, because one of the problems with semaglutide or fasting without getting enough protein, you all asked me that question before, nah? What is one of the problems with semaglutide and fasting without enough protein in the diet or without enough strength training? Muscle loss. So these crash diets that people do, where you visit a calorie restricting plan. Did you notice I didn't use the word calories till now? We don't use the word calories. Why? The body doesn't have any calorie receptor inside the body. There is no such thing as a calorie receptor in the body. There are hormone receptors. Calorie is a man-made currency, lab-made currency in the lab. When the scientists used to take food to the lab and burn it in a bomb calorimeter, they would measure how many kilojoules of heat energy was released. That's a calorie. That's a human measurement system we've created. Okay. So what was I saying before that? Before calories? I lost my train of thought. What was I saying just before that?
You were telling us
NPR.
about muscles. Why it's
Muscles.
yeah.
Yeah. And so if you go for fasting without enough nutrition, or if you go, this was the point. If you go for a calorie restricted diet,
Sarcopenia and muscle
sarcopenia.
loss. Yeah.
Muscle loss. So if you go for a calorie restricted diet, low calorie diet, low fat diet, without enough protein, without strength training, you will lose muscle. I've seen diet plans where the client is told, do not do strength training, you will gain weight. But if I give you 1 kg of gold, are you going to say no? Oh no, I don't want to gain 1 kg of gold. Depends on what is that 1 kg now. If you go for strength training and you gain 1 kg of lean muscle tissue, that is net positive. Today, I weigh 58 kilos. Okay? 58. When I was not doing strength training, my weight was 53 kilos. So I have gained 4 kilos. So my BMI is now spoiled because I gained 4 kgs of what? What did I gain? 4 kgs. That's me when I was in grade 10. Okay. That's me when I was 23. Oh, I don't know if it's in focus. 23. Okay. That's me in grade 10. Now I'm 4 kgs more than that. What does it mean? Am I sick? Something wrong with me? What happened?
You gain muscles.
Is that net positive or negative? I gained muscles. Everybody tells me, oh my God, you have lost weight. This is again me in my 20s. In my 20s. Today, I'm 47. So why am I saying this? If you look at a diet that gives you instant weight loss in the next 3 months, and if it comes at the expense of muscle, you have made your worst investment in life. You know, some people invest in gold, in real estate, in stock market. This would be the worst investment if you invested in muscle loss. Because when you're 60 and 70 years old, like ma'am said, she's fitter than 40-year-olds now in the plank. It's amazing for ma'am. It's shameful for the 40-year-olds that she beat. What's going to happen to them when they're 60? What do you want to be when you're 70? Walking stick, can't sit on the toilet, can't use the Indian toilet. Indians can't use Indian toilet. Why? What did we talk about our ancestors, na? I want to live like the ancestors. I want to eat like the ancestors. Can you use the Indian toilet like the Indian ancestors in the village? You want a Western toilet? You've lost muscles. You cannot squat down. If we fall in the bathroom, our grannies and our grandpas fall in the bathroom, can't get up. Sitting there for 2 hours with a broken hip, can't stand, taken to hospital. More fatal. Fragility fractures, osteoporotic fractures in the elderly are more fatal than cancer. Did you know that? The survival rate, 5-year survival rate after an osteoporotic fall fracture is worse 5-year survival than cancer. It's not glorious. It's not glamorous. We don't talk about it. It's preventable now. If you make the right investment in your 70s, when the floor is wet, when the stone is uneven in the Tirth Yatra and you have to lose the balance, you will hop out like a mountain goat and you'll land on your feet. You'll not topple like a house of cards. That investment starts now. It helps the pre-diabetes and the diabetes, and it helps you with having a decent long life. Self-respecting long life, not stuck in the bed. Okay. So, Dr. Asha, my speech is done. I covered the 4 wheels. Let's not talk about fasting because these 4 wheels, until they do it, there's no point getting into it. Nobody on this group is yet ready for fasting. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
First, fix the 4 wheels, right?
Yeah. I feel at the age of 64 years, I entered this journey and I felt it was so late. But I've always believed in things like problems worry you, challenges inspire you. Girls, it was not a very easy journey. It was very, very tough. At least the first 6 months to go off insulin against the conventional belief, to stop the drugs. And while my two mentors were away doing a holiday, and I can never forget when Rupal frantically called up Roshni, and she came online and said, as she said, "What's it? I'm in Lanka on a holiday, and Rupal is very worried about you." That's the kind of commitment these women have. Before I would like to before the vote of thanks, I want all of you to read what Robert Lufkin says, lies I taught in medical school, how conventional medicine is making you sicker and what you can do to save yourself. Please save yourself. We still have time. Don't think you're 60 plus and you don't have anything to do. I'm done with, it's okay for me to be doing all this. The second important thing, Dr. Roshni, in conferences, all my friends here keep on eating. They're not at all aware of the time-restricted eating, the insulin surge, the lipogenesis, etc. I'm a breastfeeding advocate. I worked 40 years on breastfeeding. The new kid in the block is gut microbiome, and breast milk is a meal worth having for a lifetime of health. The amount of microbiome breast milk has is amazing. The future is hacking the mitochondria. Over to you people, and thank you so much, Roshni. It's difficult to say I add you. You'll be coming again with us. Let these people decide when they want you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Asha. All right.
Thank
Who's
you.
in charge? I guess we can do some questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Roshni ma'am. Thank you, Asha ma'am. Dr. Elizabeth ma'am, are you here to enlighten us? She's stalwart in nutrition. Dr. Elizabeth ma'am.
Dr. Elizabeth?
No?
Yes, I'm mesmerized by the talk, the way she put it. And actually, the great message is that there is no tailor-made solution. There is no shortcut. We have to understand. And even for me, when I put the CGM, I really understood. Every day I was going to hypoglycemia at 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. So then I changed some of my eating pattern, and I could come out of that. So that I never knew because my husband used to say I sometimes scream and all. Then when I'm so overworked, I thought I never knew. Maybe because of the hypoglycemia, I was getting nightmares, but I never knew it till I put the CGM on. So that is it. So you have given a lot of food for thought, and the 4-wheel balance is something which we always will cherish, and day by day we will work on it. Thank you so much, Dr. Asha and Dr. Roshni, for rocking us and taking us to another level. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much, ma'am. Dr. Hima Bindu ma'am, would you like to enlighten us?
Thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta and Dr. Anu, for arranging this. Round of applause to all of you. And our own Asha madam, she's our heroine in our group. And she really motivates us. She's the life example. We were all so supportive to her. And the talk by Roshni is just so clear-cut, very, very direct and straight, and really thought-provoking. I hope we have her sessions more often. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you. I'm so proud that WPF is doing such wonderful sessions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Madhu Raturi ma'am, would you like to say something?
Excellent, superb, Dr. Roshni. Each word is so meaningful. And as everybody can understand that there is always something new to learn, even if you know everything. And it is never late. I also changed my routine of eating. Like as you are saying, in the morning, getting up, taking tea and everything. Now, after my dinner early, as far as possible, 7 to 8, then I take my breakfast and whatever tea, anything I want at 10 or 11 a.m. nothing in the morning. So I've changed just to see, just every time if I sometimes feel like munching, I think no, my insulin will release. So small changes will make difference. And then again in the evening, in afternoon, something. So everybody needs, yes. One more thing very important, which is muscle. Muscle is very, very important. And there is a issue with the vegetarians, what to eat about for the protein. It is a question always in my mind, like paneer, a lot of dal and all the green vegetable, everything we can eat, some nuts, no fruits. What to eat for the vegetarian protein? Because
Yeah. Yeah, that's what. So my book has a whole chart of all the protein sources, vegetarian, like how much comes in chickpeas, how much comes in a pulses or in a like a whole quinoa or in
Right.
a tofu or a paneer or a dairy. That is in the chart. And ultimately, it's going to come down to creativity of how to repurpose the same ingredients with different clothes every time so that we eat it like a variety. We don't get bored. And
Yes.
worst case, as a vegetarian, you would fall short on reaching your daily 1.2 grams per kg body weight, then it would
Yes.
require a protein supplement, worst case.
Yeah. So it is fantastic. Thank you so much for enlightening, rather. It's
Thank you.
enlightening. And everybody should wake up wherever, and everyone should live comfortably and happy and healthy. That is very
Thank you
important.
so much.
I will take one each word I have taken and engrossed. Thank you so much. And
Pallavi,
everybody
just
should.
take photographs of all
So
the
much, ma'am. So the abstract of today's session.
I request all to just keep your video
Please
on
keep
so
your
we can
videos on.
have our photo. Pallavi, will you please take photo of all three
Yes, ma'am.
screens?
Yes, ma'am. Taking.
Yeah, put your video on.
And please send me also the picture, yeah?
Yeah.
Sure,
Kindly
sure,
put on
ma'am.
the videos. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Is it done?
Yes.
Not yet, ma'am. Please hold.
Screen 1, 2, and 3.
And I believe and I wish we should have one more session hammering, and you can. And the way fantastic was the unstructured. You were just kept on giving the answers. So the monotony was absolutely not there. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Structured one.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
want
Thank
it to
you.
be relevant for your doubts. What's the point me talking my thoughts? I should answer your doubts.
Yes, yes.
Right approach. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Photo done. Thank you.
So,
ma'am.
Roshni ma'am, whenever you think that you want to reconnect with us, all of us again, just let me know
Yeah.
so we can arrange one more session like this also. And
Yes.
yeah.
Please, I
Yes.
can
I
say
will.
the
And
doctors,
we are
she
having
doesn't want to
17.
reconnect.
Yeah,
We
we
need
are
to
having
reconnect.
17 media
We
platform.
need to
We will
reconnect.
we are having 17 social media platform. I will just share all the YouTube live video in all the platforms, social platforms.
Yeah, in the
Thank you.
meantime, read the book. That will give
Sure,
you a
ma'am.
lot
Yes,
of
ma'am.
food for thought, and repeated same questions will be avoided.
Sure, sure.
We
Yes.
will.
Thank
Sure.
you.
I think
Yeah.
now this is the time for vote of thanks because it's 5 p.m.
Before vote of thanks, abstract of today's session is respect your body, fuel your body, challenge your body, move your body, and most important, love your body. With this, I invite Dr. Ritvika Jiani for vote of thanks. Dr. Ritvika?
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Women Pediatric Forum, I, Dr. Ritvika Jani, would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to the WPF members who contributed to make today's session a grand success. And firstly, I would like to thank our WPF Executive Committee, Dr. Hima Bindu ma'am, our founder chair of WPF, for always being an inspiration for all of us, and Dr. Sangeeta Lodha ma'am, chairperson WPF, Dr. Madhura Turi ma'am, chairperson elect, Dr. Anuradha Sanade ma'am, a dynamic secretary, and Dr. Elizabeth ma'am, vice chairperson of WPF, Dr. Narmada Ashok ma'am, treasurer WPF, and all our distinguished guests for gracing the occasion with their presence. Now I would like to express my gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Roshni Sanghni ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your knowledge with us and explaining such a complex topic, and for answering so many doubts we asked. We look forward for more such enriching sessions with you. Now I would like to thank our moderator, Dr. Asha Venekappa ma'am, for beautifully guiding us and for being a role model throughout the session. And so very grateful to our organizing team, because without their efforts, it wouldn't have been possible. Last but not the least, a big thanks to each one of you for your active participation. We look forward for more such enriching and inspiring academic sessions. Thank you.
And our tech head, Pallavi Dharmadhikari, and my Rotarian friends who has joined today's webinar with us. Thanks to all of them as well.
We'll meet soon on eve of, we'll meet soon on 28th this month. I'm right, ma'am? On 25th of this month.
Yeah.
In our AEIOU session.
We are coming up with the AEIOU, the 5 vowels like this. We have 5 extinguished characteristic personality having Dr. Pukhraz Bafna, and another one is Dr. Shashimani madam. So they are with us on 25th at the same time, 3:30 p.m. So see you all again on 25th with a different type of program, AEIOU, the 5 vowels of WPF or pediatrics. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roshni.
Thank you.